Hi, my name is Ashish, and in this video, we will see how to implement flag management with LaunchDarkly and Azure Devops. Well, just to give you a brief overview, LaunchDarkly is a continuous delivery platform that provides feature flags as a service and allows developers to iterate quickly and safely. LaunchDarkly gives you the power to separate feature rollout from code deployment and manage feature flags at scale. With the integration of LaunchDarkly with Azure DevOps services, allow developer to release confidently with less risk. We can tie feature flag rollouts to Azure DevOps work items to get complete control over who sees what when. By managing feature flags in the context of Azure DevOps, release pipelines unlock the true power of DevOps. So what we will cover in this video, we'll see how to implement a very simple feature flag for an ASP.NET MVC application. We'll see how to integrate LaunchDarkly with Azure DevOps. We'll see how to roll out LaunchDarkly feature flags in Azure DevOps release pipelines. So let me just log on to the portal and set up my account on LaunchDarkly and see if I have Visual Studio 2017 version 15.4 or later with .NET Core Sdk installed. So let me create an account on LaunchDarkly. So I'm going to pick up my account for LaunchDarkly while signing up on it. Signing up, save my password. Email has been signed to my for the verification. Let me do that and I'll come back. Okay, email may land up in your junk. So because it landed up in my junk for live account. So I'm gonna, please check your email in the junk email as well. Okay, it says on the right, my email has been verified. So let me check if I have the Visual Studio 2017 installed with .NET Core SDK. I'm on the Microsoft page. I'm going to install the .NET SDK 64-bit. Let's see how it goes. And I have Visual Studio 2019, so you can use either Visual Studio 2017 version 15.4 or later. So I already have Visual Studio 2019. I'm downloading the .NET Core SDK, and as soon as it is done, we'll proceed with the lab. All right, I'm installing .NET Core. It's going to take some time. It's going to set up the progress and do the dependencies if missing. So it's going to take some time. I'm going to pause this video and come back as soon as it is done. All right, it is done. And this is my project, LaunchDarkly. I've created a project in my Azure DevOps, and these are the files that you can see, the script, the environment, and how this will deploy if I, try to pick up the file using my build or release pipelines. So I'm going to sign into my LaunchDarkly account. I'm going to create a feature flag in LaunchDarkly. So this is my LaunchDarkly account, and it says create a flag here. So in the create a feature flag window, if I click on it, it says name. So I'm going to enter the name as member portal. Okay. Key is member portal, description, you can miss it. And what kind of flag is this? I'm going to go with the Boolean flag variations. I'm going to click on save flag. Okay. And now we have created a flag named member portal. Assume that you want to use this flag to determine the visibility of the member portal feature in your ASP.NET MVC web app. So now your dashboard would look like this. So if I go back to my dashboard, hide my production key. So if you go to the account settings, you can see that there are two predefined environments, production and test. You can use the production environment SDK key for this project. You can copy the SDK key and paste it in the notepad. We'll use it under the in the following example. So now we have to integrate LaunchDarkly into our web application on the Azure DevOps. So let me just copy this key and paste it on the notepad. Then we'll integrate in the Azure DevOps portal. Okay, I'm onto my, now that we'll have to check in the Azure DevOps project settings. So if I go to project settings, I have to make sure that work item management is on. So if you would go to, let me check it, project settings. Now if you go to the code, so I went to project settings, then I went into repos, then I would click on launch Darkly repo, and you see this work item transition preference. It is set to on. Policies, check in here as well. Permissions, looks good. Now navigate to the repos within the project portal and select clone. So if I go to my repos here, right, this is my project code, and I'm going to click on clone here. It says clone in Visual Studio Code. You click on here, click on open. It will launch the Visual Studio Code if it is installed on your laptop or desktop or any workstation that you're using. So it is launching Visual Studio Code here. Take few seconds and will launch. Let me pause it and come back. Oh, it is up. Great. So it has cloned that directory. I'm going to click on clone, click on open. The command line did not work. So what I did, I opened up Visual Studio and cloned the directory on my under the downloads folder within the LaunchDarkly folder. So you create one folder name as LaunchDarkly and then clone it, that repo under your downloads folder so that my Visual Studio can pick that up from the local path. You see here that it is cloning it. It will take some time. Let me pause it again. All right, it is done. And I'm going to select a folder here. So if I go here, it's going to open up. All right, so it has opened up now. So in the Teams Explorer, I'm going to select the branch and would right click on the Launch Darkly branch. This one, right? I've opened up the solution file to open up this MVC project. And now to integrate LaunchDarkly with .NET application, we need to install NuGet package with the LaunchDarkly client. So in the current project, we have already added for the ease of use. It's already installed here. So if I go, let me install this extension as well. I hope this does not require a restart. I configured it in Visual Studio Code. Now I'm reopening the Visual Studio by re-entering my credentials. So give me a few. I opened up the wrong application. I'm really sorry. It was picking up Visual Studio Code. That is why it was not configuring it right. So now it's opening up Visual Studio. Let me click on clone. Now it will clone this directory in the Visual Studio Code, and the local path would be the one that's mentioned. So it'll take some time and would be done. Then I'll see the branches on the right on the Teams Explorer here. You see that it's cloning the repo here, and it will initiate the clone. All right. After configuring it locally in the Visual Studio, I was able to select the branch under my code and I was able to launch it locally as well. Now, you see this member portal. Assume that this member portal module is a new feature and we would like to control this feature using LaunchDarkly feature flag so that when you turn on the flag in LaunchDarkly, then only this feature should be visible to users, else it will not be visible. So I'm going to open home controller.cs file from from my Parts Unlimited project, the website project in my Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to open the files here, and this is my file. And under Parts Unlimited website, I'm going to open up that folder. So this is my file, and I'm going to replace it with the new code. With this code that I'm taking from GitHub, copy it. I'm going to replace it with the new code using this, and I'm going to save this file. All right, and I'm going to change the code for one more file here, which is account controller.cs. I'm going to replace it with the new code. Here it is. I'm going to save this file. It is done. Now I'm going to open the underscore layout.chtml file from this folder. File, open the file. I'm going to open up that file from here, views, shared underscore layout.chtml. This one, and I'm going to make changes in one line. Let it open up. So I'm going to scroll down to line 55 where it says await HTML partial sync login with the new code. View below code. HTML partial sync, and I'm going to save it. Right now, I'm going to open up the home controller.cs and the account controller.cs file, and I'm going to replace the SDK key which we copied at the beginning. This is to create a new LD client with the environment specified SDK key. Let me just open up those files again. Make sure that your application is not running while you're making the changes in the controller.cs file or the home controller.cs file. So I'm going to replace it with my key here. So I have made the changes in both the files. So what did we do? The home controller starts with initializing a static LaunchDarkly client, and the methods to view member portal are modified to check the feature flag toggle in LaunchDarkly is on or off. Then finally, the layout.cs HTML page checks the toggle value and renders the member portal link if the flag is turned on. So if you would open up the home controller.cs file again, If I go to controllers here, and if I go to home controller.cs, in the 57 to 70 here, launch darkly start, and if you see it here, it says the toggle value, your application description page, view data, toggle value equal to value, and then it happens, right? So when you request a feature flag, you need to pass it in a user object. So we are initializing user object in the beginning. This will be used to check whether a user with specified key exists in launch darkly or not. In this simple, in this sample, we have hard coded the user value. In real time, it might be from logged in user, database, or etc. Then we are calling the bool variation method to check feature flag value in launch darkly. If the flag is true, it will set view data here, toggle value to true, which is used in layout.ch HTML to view the member portal. Similarly, in the account controller.ch, we have added the LaunchDarkly code to login method, which is responsible to show login page once you click on the member portal. So now if we save all the changes to the application locally, right? And if I launch the application locally again, it'll take some time. It start the build, build it, then would try to terminate it, and then might open up the application. So it is trying to open up the application locally. So right, we may not see the member portal link like we were seeing earlier. And this way, if this doesn't show up, the member portal page doesn't show up, we have implemented feature flag control using LaunchDarkly. Though you can enable the toggle value from the LaunchDarkly portal manually in this lab, we will try to turn the feature flag on in Azure DevOps. So in that case, release pipelines using the LaunchDarkly extension, and then to include feature flags as part of the release process, you would have to do this again. So now you see the member portal tab is not here. It is not present anymore like it was available on this, just with the cart option, right? And now if you want to automatically roll out LaunchDarkly feature flags during release, you need to have a LaunchDarkly access token to integrate with Azure DevOps services. Now, if you would visit the access token under your LaunchDarkly here, and you go to account settings, you go to security, you can go under the account settings, you can click on access token, and if you do not have an access token, you can create a token by clicking on here. You can give it a name, Azure DevOps, save token. You can then copy that token onto your notepad, and then we can navigate to the project setting. Let me do that for you. So I copied that. Then if I go to my project settings here, then I have to create a service connection here. You click on here, service connection, create a service connection. You click on launch darkly, click on next. This is your server URL. You paste the token here, and my launch darkly service connection is present. And here on, you can, you can go to your project and you can save the changes. And when you go to the release, you go to your pipeline, you go to your releases, there is no deployment. You can click on the existing release, and if you can click, there is no deployment, LaunchDarkly rollout. So it has Azure Resource Group deployment task. This task help us to deploy an Azure App Service for our website using ARM template. When you see the LaunchDarkly rollout, this task will help to roll out or turn on the feature flag. Here you select your account. Here is my account, right? When you and the Azure App Service deploy, this task deploys the web app to the app service created in the first task. So the first task uh, deploys the first task help us to deploy an Azure App Service for our website using ARM template. It is a resource group deployment. Then the LaunchDarkly will help us to turn on the feature flag in the LaunchDarkly subscription, and then your Azure App Service deploys the project web app to the app service. So when you create an app service, release will deploy the code. So this is the deploy feature to deploy the existing website code to the web app that you created in this Azure Resource Group deployment task. When you fill all the information in the Azure Resource Group deployment, you select your subscription, because I already have a service connection with my uh, Azure subscription. So I get an option to select that subscription. So if I release this pipeline, my Azure web app will be created. Then the feature will turn on or turn off in the launch directly. Then the code will be deployed from my packages. And then you have to, uh, if you go to the variables here, it says launch Darkly Pat. This is your personal access token. In here, you have to, if you don't have one, you have to create a personal access token for DevOps services. And then you have to also fill out the LaunchDarkly account name and the project name variable here. So this is your project name and your account name is already filled up. So you generate a new PAT token from your Azure DevOps, and then you can integrate these things so that the variables are called out during deployment. That is how you integrate it. I'm sorry, in the beginning I selected Visual Studio Code. I don't know what happened to me. I didn't notice that I was using Visual Studio Code and not Visual Studio. But this is how you do it, right? So I hope this was informative for all of you guys. If you have any queries, please mention them in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.